Well, hey, good morning. All right, let's just let Facebook do its thing here. I know people are going to be coming on. It's hard to sometimes catch the lives as they go live. But yes, we are together. Okay, great. So listen, a really great question came in, and it was basically around this idea, like, how do you stop self-sabotaging when there's people in your home who are either eating things that you want to eat, offering things to you that maybe they want to eat and they want you to eat with them, or you're buying food because they want it in the cupboard. And how do you not succumb to that kind of self-sabotage? So there's a really good question. If you have a pen and paper, or if you don't have a pen and paper, get one, because I'm going to teach you what's really going on here. It's deeper than just try harder, okay? Try harder is never going to be the answer. And so what you have to understand is self-sabotage is never just happening in isolation. There's a reason we self-sabotage. Remember, self-sabotage means to take deliberate acts to prevent you from getting to where you want to go and make things feel broken in your life. I've basically narrated that. Oh, hey, good morning. It's so hard because I can see that you pop on, but then I can't sometimes see who it is, which is annoying, because I'd say your name, I'd say good morning. There we go. Oh, see, and then it tells me. Okay, awesome. Hey, Alex, or hey, Abby. And now you can hear this here. That's annoying too. Okay, so there we go. I've got comments going. So part of this, you can think about alcohol, you can think about chips, you can think about a partner who maybe does nighttime snacking. You may have kids who are teenagers, who are lions, teenage boys, who can eat. And so what do you do with that? So we have to talk about the different, I call them the family of self-sabotage, right? Like the kissing cousins, the weird uncle. And that's where people-pleasing comes in. If you are going to give up or indulge or engage in a behavior that takes you away from where you want to go, and you're doing it to keep the peace, to make somebody else happy, any feelings of pressure, well, then that's a very, very subtle form of self-abandonment. You're going to give up your goals to go take care and people please someone else. Now, the hard thing is about this is a lot of times in life, we've been trained to get our love by behaving in ways that other people desire us to behave, but not in ways that are actually in alignment with who we are. You may need to watch hear that sentence again, right? So we're praised for some things, we're shamed, we're, depending on your family of origin, who knows what's gone on. So this is a couple of things. You've got to get really, really clear on why weight loss is important to you. Like, you got to get really clear. And a lot of people say you got to find your why. I think sometimes finding your why can actually bring out your inner critic, and you can convince yourself that actually maybe you should just be fine the way you are, or maybe losing weight shouldn't be such a big deal, or maybe, oh my gosh, I've heard women say, I feel like I'm really vain because I want to lose weight. So we can't make it necessarily about your why. You've got to get really clear on what losing weight is going to give you access to that you don't currently have access to right now, or enough access to. And that can be things like confidence, energy, the ability to travel without worrying about having to get a seatbelt extender, the ability to go and go kayaking and get out of the kayak, play with your grandkids, go for a hike with your kids. Is it going to give you the ability to have a less painful life, hips, knees, back, joints? Will you feel more confident? Are you going to feel better about yourself? Are you going to feel more willing to be seen, get involved in things that maybe you haven't been involved with? So do you see the difference of going after your why versus asking yourself a question about, what is this journey going to be about for me? What am I going to get from going on it? So that's number one. You got to get really clear on that. Then, with the people who are in your life, you need to communicate why this is important to you, and then ask for their support. A lot of times people get stuck in their habits, and so if your husband or your partner is used to pouring you a glass of wine, when they get home from work and they pour themselves one or whatever, then they may just automatically pour you one, and you actually haven't used your words to say, honey, I really want to have this time to connect with you, but I'm not going to drink wine like this anymore. Or I'd prefer to have a different, I'd prefer to do it differently. Or you like take it to whatever your situation is, but have you used, and I say this really gently, but I say sometimes we need to pull up our big girl panties and use our big words and say, no, thank you. Here's what I would like instead. But really, that's courageous because it means being vulnerable, because you're going to be expressing your needs and your wants. Anytime we put words to our needs and wants and we put it out there, do you know what you risk? Disappointment. You risk disappointment, the feeling of it. And I just read in Brene Brown's book last night, most people are living with disappointment because they're so afraid to create the risk of feeling disappointment that that's the life that they tolerate. Just being constantly disappointed in not getting into the shape that they want to be in, wearing the kind of clothes they want to have, having the kind of freedom to do things and the confidence back. So this is, anybody else having trouble with audio? Oh, okay, phew, if I just saw that. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you? Amanda, can anybody else? I just want to make sure. Oh, okay, that's Sandy. Okay, can you guys hear? Making sure. It takes there's a 20-second lag. So if you're not communicating what you need and want, first of all, you need to get clear on it for yourself. Second of all, you need to vocalize it, verbalize it to other people, especially the people in your family, if you do find there's this influence on what you do. Okay, good. You can hear. No problem. Awesome. Okay. Thank you, guys. Then you have to decide where are your weak points. When do you start to give up on you? Is it Thursday night? Is it Saturday morning? Is it Saturday night? Is it if you're around girlfriends and everybody else is having some? Because a lot of what we're doing in our life is repetitive, and chances are when you decide to change a habit, it's going to feel weird because it's what you've always done, or it's what you've done for a long time. So not only do you have a story about who you are and what you do, everybody else in your life does too. It's oh, that's Jen. Jen's a red wine drinker. Really, I am? I could be oh, that was Jen circa, 2010. That's not the Jen that I am now, right? So people don't adjust their stories as you're changing. You've got to communicate how you're changing and then exemplify behaviors that support your new change. What does that mean? It means having boundaries. Uh-oh, I'm going to sneeze. It means being able to set the boundary, and not just set the boundary, it's holding the boundary. It's holding the line. And if any of you are parents, you've done this with your child. Your child asks you, can I stay up till 10? Can I stay up till 10? And you say no, and you say no, and you say no. And then you put your child to bed at 8 or whatever time was appropriate, right? You hold the boundary because you know that that's going to be what's best for the kid, and that everybody's going to have a better day tomorrow when nobody's sleep deprived and grumpy and all of that stuff. Do you hold the line for yourself? Can you stay committed to what you want most in the long run, not what you feel tempted to do in the moment? That is really how we're cultivating emotional resiliency when you go on a weight loss journey. And so there's little behavioral tricks for sure. So for instance, get your counters cleaned off. Don't have the things that visually, because I read this thing that says we're on a seafood diet. We see it, we eat it. And you know this if you've ever not been thinking about something and then somebody's got a bowl of it on their counter and all of a sudden you're eating it. Chocolate almonds, chips, jelly beans, you name it. You don't even like it, but you're eating it. So the power of suggestion is, that's why it's called the power of suggestion. It's very powerful. So get your counters clean. Put those trigger foods and those munchy foods that maybe your other family members want to have up really high or down really low. Do not put them on the middle shelves in your pantry where it's the first thing you see when you walk in. Set up your environment to support yourself, and then take yourself out of that environment. Change things up. And then just practice the words, no, thank you. And then, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want any? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. No, thank you. But we always do this. Oh, yeah, we used to always do this in the past, but I'm good tonight. No, thank you. You go ahead. And literally, it's going to be practicing these words over and over. Because when you can, and then also you can be very vulnerable and tell your family what support looks like for them. I don't know about you, support for me does not look like my family being my food police. So sometimes family members can take it too far. Has anybody ever got a family member who's like, are you sure you should be eating that? I don't know if you should have that right now. Don't you think you're having a little bit much of that? Like you go crazy. It's like you end up eating more because that little rebel comes out, and it's like, I'm going to do whatever I want. You're not the boss of me. And so people can take this too far, one way or the other. So just make sure that as you are moving forward on your journey, that you're bringing the people that you love along with you, sharing and communicating while you're doing what you're doing. And I can promise you, my mom was overweight growing up. It has led to a current reality with my mom in a wheelchair. She was never able to babysit or look after my kids on her own. She was never that grandma that we could go and do things with, or that the kids could have sleepovers with. And if my mom, she's in her 80s now, so I'm 47, so go back to 20 years ago, my mom could have changed the complete trajectory of her life if she had gotten and asked for some support with her health. Think about that. The years are going to go by. Where she is now, she never imagined or predicted that she was going to be there when she was in her 60s. But she was overweight at 60, and she didn't take good care. She didn't enlist me as a support system. She didn't tell me what her goals were. And I don't even know if she knew how. Fair enough, right? Sometimes we just cope. But life is long. And sometimes to go on this journey, we think it's going to be so hard, or it's going to take forever. And, life is passing us by anyways. It's going to be, I get to go on another trip around the sun, for which you better believe I am so grateful for. And I want to make the most of this year so that in my 60s and 70s, I am living that vital, healthy, functional aging kind of life. So it starts today. And I'm going to have boundaries around what that looks like for myself, my health, and my future well-being with my family. And so when you explain it like that to your family, it's pretty hard for them to want to push stuff, right? It's like, yeah, I like it, but I want to be able to do stuff with us. I want to be able to do stuff next year that I'm not able to do right now. Or I want to be the kind of, whatever your vision is for you. All right. So listen, if you're new here, welcome. I'm back again tomorrow. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, we've got our Facebook Lives. We do have our new interview series starting, where you can hear stories from women who've lost weight and know what it's like to keep it off. So that, because here's the thing, if one person can do it, so can you. So I want to show you these women who are winning at this, so that you get lit up and hungry for the change, and you go after it in your own life too. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.